All right. Welcome to my studio review. This is going to show my studio and my brand new 2019 ThinkPad Lenovo E485 and how it stacks up against my 2015 MacBook Air. Yeah, so let's go. And look at that lava lamp and salt block and me opening the laptop up. That was professional. All right. As you can see, the screen sizes are different. The MacBook Air is a 13:3. Oh, wait. I have to go turn on the light. Oh, hold on. Yes, I record out of my kitchen. The Lenovo is a 14-inch screen, and the MacBook Air is a 13.3-inch screen. 1440 by 900 and 1366 by 768. Yeah. So this is going to compare the pros and cons and the features of both machines. Now, everything that I do on my Minetest channel is with the MacBook Air, and now with the new edition. So on the right hand side, we have Kensington lock, Ethernet, a 2.0 USB, and a micro SD card slot. Very cool. On the left hand side, we have a USB-C power and display port, HDMI 2 3.1 Gen 1 USB ports. Yeah. And both have the combined audio headset. Now, the MacBook Air has the MagSafe. It's the last models that have the MagSafe and the 3.0 USB. And on the right side is a 3.0 USB with an a full-size SD card slot. Both machines have a 256 gig SSD, and yeah. Now the MacBook Air has a glossy display where the ThinkPad has a matte display, and I'll get into the mistakes that I made later with speccing out the Lenovo. I made a mistake on the screen. I should have gotten the upgraded screen. However, look at this little flashing red light on ThinkPad. How cool is that? Yes, it is. Now on the MacBook Air, we have the Apple logo with dust. You know, you would think that I would have cleaned off the dust on these machines. But yeah, do I look like a professional YouTuber? I got my lava light. That is the Mac Mini 2007. Which I'm going to be putting Linux on it because Apple no longer supports it. And there's my Frankenstein MSI unit with the power supply out of the case for Air. Ooh, everybody has to have a Mr. Potato Head and a Mr. Garden Gnome. And this is the equipment that I record all my Minetest gameplay on. I was with a band and I had leftover audio equipment, so might as well use it. All that rack is got to be over 17 years old. That's the remaining working items in my audio setup. Look at that. An original 2006 iPhone. And it still works with the USB, the famous Apple USB, Bluetooth headset, and charging cradle. And look, it's still, the battery's weak on it, but I can play fireworks on it. Some fireworks games, which are very, very cool. So Apple equipment it still works. Yeah, and there's a salt lamp and some other stuff on my desk, a Pokeball. Great. And there's more fireworks. And all my old ancient Apple hardware. Yes, as I keep moving the camera. Look at that. That's a Nokia E61 from 2005. And it has an aluminum back and it still works. But this was, at the time, this was your smartphone. Had a little joystick. Very cool. And I have still a working iPhone SE, which it records in 4K. Some USB sticks. There's an iPhone 4, which still use, and an iPhone 3GS, which still works, with a lot of dust on it. And usually after I get done using a device, I give it to my daughter, and she uses it for 2 years. And that's a Mac Air, an iPod Air 2 which I use extensively. And okay, it should be recording. All right, now we're going to take a look at the Lenovo ThinkPad E485. Now, this machine has a Ryzen 5 2500 APU with Vega ATI Vega 8 integrated graphics, which is very cool. The screen resolution is 1366 by 768. This is one of the, later I'll get on with the cons of this machine and the mistakes I made when speccing this machine out. Look at that. I'm live. So we're going to get rid of me, and we're going to go directly to the desktop. Now, what we have here is, now if I have to use Windows, I'm going to make it the way I want it. So you can see up here, this is a program called Rain Meter, and this is the simple clean. I'm doing the date and time and the weather. I like that. It's very cool. So getting around the desktop, we have like a Mac style sidebar, which you can do different things from, which is very cool. Screen snip. That's another really cool feature. And that I just took a screenshot. Oh, it's because it wants me to draw on it. There we go. There we have it. Very cool. That's done. That is really cool when you have tools that are installed out of the box and you don't have to have third party. Now, there's a lot of good third party software for this, but you know, I don't tinker nowadays with my distribution. So it's a very clean desktop. As you can see here, has all my messages in it. Now, you can get the cool thing about Windows 10, and I'm not a huge Windows fan because I don't like the privacy issues that have on there. However, I do need a Windows partition to do various things in database administration and areas like that. This unit has a 256 gig NVE solid state drive in it. Very quick. As you can see, I have 174 gig left out of 237. There's a hidden partition on here for Lenovo for active recovery, which is good. I plan on putting Linux alongside Windows on this machine. I'll explain how I'm going to do that in a moment. However, 4-finger swipe on the trackpad gets you to a new desktop. Very cool. And this is something that we've had in Linux and on the Mac operating system for many, many years. As you can see here, you can have multiple desktops. It also keeps a record of what you've done recently. I like that. I really like that. So getting around here, I have my little Metro kind of taskbar display the way I like it. So I have the the calendar and the Windows email and really cool weather. I mean, nice weather widget right off the bat. No third-party software needed. And look, it's snowing and raining at the same time in Chicago. Yes. Very nice. It also has news and everything else integrated in there. So what's on my desktop? How do I do my Minetest videos? And with this machine and with the Apple. And I'm going to make this real quick because we have to get through the Apple one. So we have the weather. We have different little utilities, calculator, maps. I have my Minetest gameplay, obviously. All my Libre Office apps that I like. I have my Ubuntu subsystem installed, which works pretty good, but it's not the real. It's not like having native Linux, but it does what I need it to do for stuff accessing my Linux server and that. Notepad++, everybody that is into programming or scripting or even general text, you got to have Notepad++. This is a developer's friend. So write little scripts and batch files and stuff like that. And it does different languages. Where's my languages? So if I'm doing SQL, there's my SQL, which it does auto highlighting and stuff like that, depending on what you're working on and what programming language that you are working in. I have my main browsers: Firefox, Chrome, Vivaldi, Digicam. There's a lot of open source stuff on this machine. So obviously this is Digicam. Very good. It's the beta version. But you can do a lot of stuff in here, editing and keeping track of all your photos. It'll automatically scan your photo directory, add new photos in, keep them nice and tidy. Very cool. Something that we've used on Linux for a very long time. Over in video making, Windows gives its version of Windows. There's a Windows Movie Maker somewhere on here. I opened it up. It's okay. For out of the box, for just getting a movie clip trimmed, and it's okay. I have installed for my movie Shotcut, which is a very good movie editor, and especially on Windows, Linux, and Mac. I also have DaVinci Resolve, which there's a community version for Windows, Linux, and Mac. For programming, or along the same lines of the software, I have GIMP, Krita. Photo Escape X is really, really cool. And the built-in photo window with Windows, it does a lot of things. Nice text, nice editing. There's what the screenshot looked like, and there's what it was when I was done putting it up on my channel. So it's very, very cool. And there's some screenshots and other things I've taken with the snip program for saving my settings and everything else. That's the great thing about screenshot, is that you can screenshot settings and stuff that you need. OneNote, very, very good. Mac has their version of Notes. Linux has a bunch of different versions of Notes that you can go across platforms with. OneNote will work with Mac, and you can do the web version on Linux. OneNote is very, very good at what it does. I do have to have Office. Here's the downside of running Windows. I have a completely legitimate paid for version of Office 2013 Pro Professional. I lost the key. It's still running on my other hard drive on my MSI computer. I can't get it working on this one. I can't deactivate it from the one machine and put it on here. And there's nothing Windows will do to help me, or Microsoft will do to help me. I have to buy a new key, and that is not going to happen. That's the downside of proprietary software. I legitimately own this software and I can't use it. So it's nobody's fault but my own about losing the key. However, there's no recovery. And in the Windows Store now, like this Windows 10 is activated, the key is stored up on Windows. So it should have been the same for all the other Office products back then, because they were on the Microsoft Store. Moving along, my database stuff. I work in MySQL, SQL Server. I do a little bit with Postgres, a little bit, MariaDB, MongoDB, and I use various tools like Mongo Chef, dbeaver, MySQL Workbench, which is really cool. Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio, very nice, and Report Builder, SSRS, SQL Server Reporting Studio, and the business stuff that goes with it. The downside to Microsoft products versus MySQL and Oracle products is my MySQL and all my utilities for databases, I think, take up 200 megabytes. SQL Server, Visual Studio, the all the bells and whistles that go with the server management. It's like 20 gigabytes. That's a lot of gigabunnies. Yes, it is. Moving down to my artistic side, we have Blender. Yes, I love Blender. I'm not very good at Blender, but I still love it. GIMP, Krita, and Photo Escape X, like I had mentioned. My scanning software, another downside of Windows, you have to download a whole crap ton of drivers to get Epson printers and scanners to work. Didn't have to do that on a Mac. Didn't have to do that on Linux. OBS Studio, which you're watching this on. FileZilla is up there with my programming stuff. Eclipse, NetBeans. I still enjoy using NetBeans and Eclipse. I know a lot of other people, oh, you still use Eclipse? Yeah, why not? It's good. Does a lot of stuff. And also interfaces with database for free and open source. I also have Atom somewhere installed on here. Atom is a very good IDE. I can't find it. It's there. I think. Yeah, desktop app, Atom. I don't know why it didn't pin it to the start menu. I must have overlooked that. Atom is very good. I like it. So, let's see here. And this is really cool. So you can pin to, I don't want it pinned to the taskbar. I want it pinned to my start menu. So there's a lot of, there are a lot of good things that you can do with Windows 10 if you have to use it. Lenovo has a very good back system for driver updates. So I got this thing out of the box, had issues with Microsoft with Windows 10. It didn't update, and I had a bunch of arrows where all their little advertisements and games that they wanted you to download. I turned every privacy setting on, and everything that I could deactivate is deactivated on here. Watched many YouTube videos on it. So it's pretty locked down for Windows. That doesn't mean that it can't be hacked, but I've taken a lot of precautions against that. GitHub is on here. All my Java, the Java SDK, because I enjoy working in Java. The Lenovo Service Bridge, and so you can go to you click on the button, you can go to the Lenovo website, it will download and install all your firmware, your BIOS, everything that you need to run this computer. No searching the internet. It'll automatically detect everything. And there's I believe Dell's will do this and a lot of others, but we're talking about Lenovo right now. So I have this thing set up exactly the way I want it, with the exception of a few programs that I have to put on and go from there. The Jaspersoft Studio is a reporting for database. Very, very cool. Yeah, so all my little toys and fun stuff, Audacity, is in here, and there's going to be soon more coming. So you go into the task manager. This has a Ryzen 5, and Ryzen 5 with the integrated AMD Radeon Vega 8 graphic card, and I can use hardware acceleration for the graphics. Look at that. It's using it. Very cool. This machine right now is running at 1.50 gigahertz. It has a base gigahertz of 2.0, and it will boost up to 3.6. It's a quad core, so it has 4 cores with 8 logical processors. And it is good. I started my IT career out with AMD when I built my very first computer, and it was an AMD 2200 or 2400 Athlon, single core, very middle of the road specs for the day. It had an NVIDIA card in it, and I could play, you know, NASCAR 2000 and Need for Speed, and it played everything quite well. It had Windows XP Professional on it, and everything else. And at the time, it was really cool. But then, you know, 3 years later, the machine was a doorstop because all of a sudden you couldn't play anything on it. So with this, what I plan on doing with this machine is very capable. I plan on live streaming. I'm learning live streaming. I'm learning OBS Studio, the different settings, and I believe I have everything tweaked to where I need it on the settings aspect of it. The mistakes I made on this machine are that when you look at the Lenovo, I also have to talk about the keyboard. So when you look at the Lenovo, it's a 14-inch laptop, and it is very nice. Starting price is $420, but that's with the Ryzen 3 with the, I believe, the Vega 3 graphics or Vega 6 graphics adapter. It is a great machine. It has everything that I need right now. It has 6 hours of battery life. But battery life is not high on my priority. The MacBook Air has 9 hours. You realistically don't get it. You know, those are non-real world examples, which is another reason why I'm not showing benchmarks. I have no reason to benchmark this unit, because benchmarks to me, they do mean something when if you're trying to find will my laptop play GTA 5 or Steam games. But I'm not one that gets hung up on the the benchmarks on it, because to me they're not real world. So the mistakes I made on this computer are when I spec'd it. I spec'd the 1366 by 768 screen. I made a mistake there. This is the matte finish screen. It does look good. However, the you can get the 1440 by 900 with a resolution of 1920 by 1080 for $30 more, and I should have done that. I did upgrade the memory. The base memory configuration was 4 gig. I went to 8. I should have went to 16. The keyboard is not backlit. That is not a deal breaker. However, when you've never used a backlit keyboard and then you use one, my MacBook Air has a backlit keyboard. Oh my God, it is so nice to have that. However, if you go, well, I need the backlit keyboard so I can update my social media at 3 o'clock in the morning when I wake up. If you have a laptop near your bed at 3 o'clock in the morning and you need a backlit keyboard, you need to reevaluate your life. Yes, you do. So it is not a deal breaker. It has the little pin, or the little, what do they call that? The joystick in the middle of the keyboard. I've hated this. I hated this on any computer that ever had it in the history of computers. It is awkward to use. Some people absolutely love it, and God bless you. However, I hate it, but it's got it. It's got the little pointing device. It's got the buttons and the scroll wheel, which does do what it's supposed to do. Trackpad is really cool. You can single finger, you can double click to bring up your right click. It has all the little clicky buttons on it to do whatever you need it to do. Cool. And the trackpad, oddly enough, is very responsive and very cool. It works really well. I'm using the trackpad right now instead of the mouse. Other notable things on this unit, you can get it in 3 configurations. You can get the Ryzen 7. I got the Ryzen 5. You can get the they suggest, Lenovo recommends Windows 10 Pro because they want to charge you an extra $30. So I have the HD 1366 anti-glare display, but for an extra $30 you get the full HD 1920 1080 with the IPS panel. It's worth the $30. Up to the graphics Vega 10. That's what the Ryzen 7. The Ryzen 5 comes with the Vega 8, and the Ryzen 3 comes with the Vega 6. Up to 9 hours, 45 the battery, 45 watt hour. Comes with a 65-watt charger, which is really cool. I will never get. It's telling me that it's charged up to 95%, not charging. But I believe the highest I've seen on this is like 6 hours. It'll say 6 hours left. 720p HD webcam. Cool. Supports up to 32 gigabunnies of RAM. Yes, I said gigabunnies because gigabytes is, I don't know. You can get different. This is where I'm going to upgrade a lot of stuff. This laptop hopefully soon will get another 16 or another 8 gigs of RAM, DDR4 2400 when the prices drop. You can get this thing with a multitude of different storage options, and it'll take 2 drives. So I have the 256 256 SSD. You can also get it with the dinosaur platter drives, the 5400. Now this is pretty cool. So you can get the main drive as an SSD and have a 1 terabyte 5400 drive just for data if that's important to you. You can get a 7200 drive, which is a little bit faster. I'm going to deck it out with another 256 SSD. The speakers are laughable. They're good, but it has Dolby Advanced Audio. Oh, okay. It's a laptop. It has laptop speakers in it. The MacBook Air sounds way better. However, this does its job. The Dolby does make a little bit of a difference. The noise canceling microphones are really cool, and it has the 2.0 TPM chip in it for trusted. And it has secure boot. Now, for me to run Linux on it, I do know that I have to disable secure boot and some other things to get the non-signed Linux to run with it. There's also a problem with the BIOS on Linux distributions with the E485. So there's a workaround on it, which I will be looking into. But right now, I'm enjoying the computer for what it's worth. Bluetooth 4, 3.8 pounds, black in color. I do need to get also I'm not sure if I'm going to go with the DisplayPort, the USB-C to VGA adapter, because I have a VGA monitor I want to use for a second monitor. And so I can do UB or OBS stuff on a second monitor while, doing the gameplay. So that is there. So the enhancements I want to make on this machine, because this machine's going to last 5, 6, 7 years. There's no reason why it won't. And that's why I chose Lenovo, because in the tech industry, every computer I've used has been either a Dell Inspiron or a Dell Latitude, which are good machines, but I hear other professional computer repairs people, and they highly talk about Lenovo, even after its sale from IBM. The breakup of IBM and Lenovo is still one of the top rated laptops. Warranty is decent. This is the one problem that you have with computer manufacturers. And when I get to the MacBook Air, there's only 3 different versions that you can get with different configurations. Whereas the Lenovo lineup, you have the A lineup, the E lineup, the T lineup. You have the they have the super special bells and whistles one, the gaming ones. I counted like 40 different models that you have to sift through, ranging from $200 all the way up to $4,000. So, I did my homework when I spec'd this machine. This machine was generally geared towards small business and programmers and IT people, because it's a rugged machine and, it goes in the data center, it goes everywhere. One of the other things about this machine is that it came highly, highly regarded. And by taking off just 6 screws on the bottom of it, I can get to the second hard drive caddy and get to the memory. The MacBook Air, you bought it, you made your bed, you sleep in it. If you made a mistake when you bought it and you can't return it to get more, well, you're stuck with it. So there is that. So we are going to go over to the MacBook Air now, and part of the uh, review of my studio. So we will be, who knows what it's going to do. Now we're on the Mac, and I'm trying to keep the light from shining into my webcam. Yes, I'm professional. Okay, real quickly on the Mac, we've already been through different pros and cons. This has a backlit keyboard. Yee. And it is nice. So on the Apple ecosystem, there's the sidebar. You have your weather, you have your widgets that you can set up, your calendar, do not disturb notifications. Very cool. Now they've had that on Linux and they've had that on Windows. So, and one thing I have to, for a disclaimer, this is not a bashing video about any platform. So as you can see, I use all three: Linux, Mac, and Windows. My first love is Mac, and then Linux, because when I first started, I've been running Windows since Windows 3, and then 3.1, and then 95 and 98 and Millennium Edition and then XP Service Pack 2, and all the way up to Windows Vista, Windows 7, I never ran Windows 8, and Windows 10 Pro and Windows 10 Home. There you have it. So back in the day on Windows XP, I used to do a thing called Stardock and Windows Blinds and Emerge Desktop, trying to change the desktop. And for the most part, it was really cool. And then I got into Linux because somebody said, you can, and I've been dabbling in Linux. I have sort of, I got to show this because I found my original software certificates for Kelder Linux and Mandrake Linux. And they're something. And that was the first time I had delved into Linux. However, I couldn't get Sound Blaster to work, and I couldn't get a printer to add, and I left it by the wayside for a few years. Well, it wasn't until Windows XP that I got back into Linux because of the customizations that you could do on GNOME 2 desktop and KDE. You could change any color. You could do anything you wanted with it. And that's where my love of Linux came in. And then it was all the usability of it and the privacy. And that it was free and open source, and you could contribute back to the community by spreading the word, like I do with Minetest gameplay. I'm not a programmer, however, I can play the game and make high quality videos on it. So there. Now on the Mac, I am using QuickTime for screen recording, and if this shows up, I also have this separate window here. Wow, 1.5 gig for 3 minutes of talking. Okay. Now, this MacBook Air has, go to About This Mac. And it is a Core i5, 1.6 gigahertz Core i5, boosts up to 3 point something. Not important. 4 gigabytes of memory. And it has an Intel HD Graphics 6000 with 1.5 gig of memory. Yeah. Has the display is 1440 by 900. It's a 13.3 inch display, where on the Lenovo it's a 14 inch display. I made a bad mistake on the Lenovo. I should have got the upgraded screen. Storage is the same. It's a 250 gigabyte or Gigabunny SSD, which is mostly taken up by iTunes. Yeah. But nevertheless, as you can see over here, there's Stacks, which is an Apple feature for the desktop, so it keeps your desktop nice and clean. Now, the cool thing about this is the trackpad. Apple is known for its trackpad. So you have single finger, you have dual finger, which brings up the right click. You have 4 fingers, which swipes the desktops between different desktops. You have a thing called Mission Control. And this brings up all your apps, kind of like the GNOME desktop. What I want to point out is a Mac right out of the box has iMovie, GarageBand, Pages, Numbers, and Keynote. everything a person needs to do basic content creation. Anything you want to do. iMovie, if you look back at my YouTube channel or my other channels where this is hosted, BitChute and Stemmet, you don't have to buy any third-party software. Everything on my channel has been created using a Mac. So the screen recording is done on QuickTime, and there's different settings from, maximum how you can do that. There are, am I recording? That would be bad. So it is recording that. I'm recording a webcam and I'm recording the screen capture. Over in the world of, so iMovie is really, really good. It's not as, it can do a lot of the same stuff as Shotcut. However, it is simplified. And so is GarageBand as a digital audio workstation. There's not a lot of guesswork. What do you want? You want maximum quality? You want this quality? Do you want 60 frames per second, 30 frames? And it's very easy to generate a workflow, whereas in Shotcut, it's taken me a bit of a learning curve. Same thing with DaVinci Resolve. The more professional you get, and it's not to mean that your quality is not going to be good, because iMovie will put out, if done right, you can do the same thing on iMovie as you would be able to do on Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere. So there are limitations. I'm talking about the basics of video editing and music recording. Logic Pro is right up there with Avid Pro Tools. Is it still owned by Avid? Reaper is another digital audio workstation. On Linux and Mac, we also have Ardour. Very competent, professional level digital audio workstation. Very overkill for just somebody recording YouTube videos or any kind of Vimeo videos, anything like that. So now Microsoft has Microsoft Office. Apple has Pages, which is the word processor, Numbers, which is a spreadsheet, and Keynote. I also have LibreOffice installed on here. For my database work, I will not use Numbers. I will use LibreOffice or Microsoft Excel, because for digging into the raw data and doing statistical analysis, and even LibreOffice and Microsoft Excel will allow you to just tie into the database and grab the data that you need. You can do your queries from right there, get it all on your spreadsheet, and do your analysis. So, Pages, Numbers, but Numbers is pretty. And for the basic user, it's the spreadsheet for everyone else. If you don't need statistics, if you don't need all the bells and whistles for dealing with raw data, you just want to do general spreadsheets or budgets and stuff like that. There you go. It's all included. So you have to look at what you actually get for your price tag. The Lenovo I didn't pay this, but the spec'd out Lenovo that I did was $850 before tax in the spec that it's in. I got it for $600 because of employee discounts and other discounts for the holidays. The MacBook Air I bought in 2015. It's a 2015 MacBook Air, and it was $1,150 out the door. So I haven't had to buy anything for this machine. The downside of buying an Apple product is that you cannot upgrade this machine. This machine has soldered in memory, soldered in hard drive. That might be a deal breaker for people. In the Lenovo part of the video, I can update the memory. I can update a second SSD. I can hook up a 3.0 attached storage to the Mac and expand my storage that way. But then it's a laptop. You have to bring it somewhere, So other third-party stuff for like Windows finally put in a real cool clipboard a clipboard utility where you can go in and you can do all your clipboard. You can save a history of clipboard stuff so you can use it. I had to use a third-party one on the Mac. Linux has several different packages for clipboard managers. Clipboard managers are very cool. The Lenovo, the Microsoft has Cortana. I don't use that. The Apple platform has Siri. I don't use that. I'm not on my iPhone. I do use Siri, and on my one Android device, I do use the Google, the OK Google. Sorry if I triggered anybody's Google appliance, but there you have it. I also have all my database tools set up on here. Obviously, the one missing is SQL Server. That's a Windows only product. I have MySQL. I have all my IDEs, my NetBeans. I have Eclipse on here. I have Komodo Edit. I have Atom. I have my MySQL Workbench, Mongo Chef, dbeaver, SQL Workbench, other things for dealing with my SQLite databases and Apache Derby databases. Over in Developer Tools, Atom, VirtualBox, Komodo, Text Wrangler, BBEdit. Yeah, I am decked out because I believe that for me, using a laptop is more for creation, and a desktop. People buy desktops for gaming. People buy laptops if they're programmers. Not the general person can use, but I have friends that you give them a $1,400 MacBook Pro, and all they're going to do is surf the web and check their email, and then maybe update their calendar. If that's all you need, then a tablet, any tablet, an Android tablet, a Microsoft Surface, or I have an iPad Air 2. I could do 99% of my life on any one of those devices. However, for creating content and video content, even professional podcasting, anything like that, and you need a laptop or desktop. You can do certain aspects of it in a tablet. Don't get me wrong, but it's a lot easier to do on here. What else do I have on here? Keypad password managers, Vivaldi. I have Microsoft Office for Mac 2016. Funny enough, Microsoft Excel on a Mac is not the same as Excel on Windows. So you miss out on like slicers for pivot tables. There's other things that you miss out on. Otherwise, everything else works pretty good. Microsoft Outlook is a very competent email and calendar program. And, you know, I used to use it at work all the time. UNet Bootin for creating Linux flash drives, Sweet Home 3D, DaVinci Resolve, GIMP, Krita. My other favorite photo editor now, Photoscape X. You have all my database reporting tools are on here. What else is on here? The Photos app for Mac. Very good. I love it. Where's my Minetest stuff? There it is. All my Minetest stuff. So there are pros and cons of every operating system and every platform. Now on here, I can run OBS Studio and I can do a general screencast, but this thing really starts squealing when trying to do a Minetest gameplay on OBS, even with the settings set really far down. And that's where the quad core really beats out the dual core. This Mac is a very capable machine. I have absolutely no issues hardware-wise, software-wise. I've never had with it. I've had a couple driver issues with the Lenovo right out of the box, but they were fixed. My daughter's, the difference between Intel and AMD, my daughter's Flexbook 14, which I got her for Christmas because she gets into digital artist, and her school gave her a Lenovo Chromebook. Now for school and for businesses, Chromebooks are actually a great idea because the keyboard failed on hers. And within 5 minutes, their IT department had her a new Chromebook up and running in her account. That is awesome, with no data transfer required because everything is sucked into the cloud. Do you trust Google, and especially in an enterprise or school situation where these are being used, that they'll keep their analytical mitts off your data? If you can, then these are great machines. For hers, she has a Core i5 quad core with 4 gigs of memory. Now, she can't do the October update for Windows 10 because there's a problem with the Intel drivers for video and something else. So it's actually blocked for hers. And there's a couple issues on her desktop that she doesn't know about, she doesn't care about, but I can see them on the updates. My AMD Ryzen, it took the October update and is running fine. I lost no data. It updated perfectly. And I love the new features that came with it, with the clipboard and the snipe tool and everything else that came with it. So I can enjoy different operating systems. The Mac operating system gets out of your way. Linux gets out of your way. The Microsoft operating system, Microsoft says, hey, I'll be in the background, but don't you forget about me. That's a cool song too. Yeah. Windows has to make its presence known. It just won't go in the background and say, okay, when you need me, I'm here. Just, I'll leave you alone. Wait, here's an update. I can't, on Mac, I can turn the notifications on Do Not Disturb. It will not disturb me. On Windows, I know you don't want to be disturbed, but that photo just updated on your machine. Really, Microsoft? Really? And I don't know, maybe I'm missing a setting, but I have it on Focus Assist, and Focus Assist is priority only. A photo that transferred to my operating system is not a priority. I'm sorry. But I can enjoy all 3 different platforms at different levels, but my daily driver is a Mac and Linux. But I am highly, highly enjoying that Lenovo, along with my MacBook Air. And this MacBook Air, I have no regrets, other than I wish I could have, at the time, afforded the 16 gigs of memory. You know, that's armchair quarterbacking, and I'm not going to cry over spilt milk. I'm not going to cry over I should have upgraded the Lenovo right off the bat. These machines out of the box right now, I am in heaven, and that's all there is. So that's going to conclude, because I'm up to 10 gigabytes of just for the movie recording. Wow. Okay, so that's going to do it. This was a very lengthy video. I am going to put in the description timestamps of where you can go straight to the Mac or straight to the Lenovo. The little funny 5 minutes at the beginning. So I'm going to get back onto the Minetest gameplay. How does all this relate to my Minetest channel? Because this is what I use to create all of my content and programming on Minetest gameplay. From graphical editing, from Lua programming, from gameplay and server updates and everything. I do run Minetest on a Ubuntu server that is off-site. So all this ties in. But a lot of people over the last year and a half have asked me what I use to record with, what it is. On Mac, I use QuickTime. On Windows, I use OBS. On Linux, I use OBS or my screen top recording. So thank you very much for making 2018 a fantastic year. I am at the top of, I have 457 subscribers right now. I have 450 videos in the last 48 hours were watched. It's a new high for my channel. Everything is just, it's really, really great right now. I don't want to jinx myself, but I am having a blast right now. And anybody watching this, thank you. And there was a person that gave it a thumbs, he said, bad video. But thank you for at least giving me a chance. That right there. Even if you didn't like it or have a disagreement with it, thanks for watching. And hopefully there's something that you will like on my channel. Or go to a similar channel that has what you want. So thank you very much for making 2018 a fantastic year. I'm looking forward. It's January 7th, 2019. I am looking forward to another fantastic year. All my other friends over at other YouTube Minetest videos, Nathan, MakerMine, all those other people that do content creation for Minetest. Thank you for your inspiration and keep going. And hopefully I can return the favor. So that's it. This video is done. Goodbye.